We've just arrived at the Australian Federal Police office in Narrm, Melbourne. We're in Latrobe Street, 383 Latrobe Street, Melbourne. If you're in town, come and join us. This huge banner here says, Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Stop killing us. Can I hear it? Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
One more time. Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
So that means stop killing us. This is what West Papuans are saying to us. Stop killing us. We're here because the Australian Federal Police train D88, Densus 88, the anti-terror squad in Indonesia, and D88 has just been deployed to West Papua. So we're asking the Australian Federal Police to stop training killers. Stop training these anti-terror squads who go in and commit crimes like this. This is Janius Bagau. He was murdered by Indonesian military just in February for no particular reason. And he's actually still alive in this photograph. He's got a terrible bullet wound. He went to the hospital. Two of his brothers came and joined him in the hospital, and then TNI anti-terror squad came and beat all three young men to death. Here's his brother, Justinus Bagau. Shame.
Shame.
You can see there are, we have a lot of people watching in West Papua. So cheers, say hi to everyone in West Papua. Solidarity to the folks in West Papua. We've got another huge banner up here saying AFP, stop training killers. It's pretty simple. So the Indonesian government has just decided that the OPM is a terrorist organisation. OPM stands for Organisasi Papua Merdeka, or Papuan Independence Organisation, which pretty much means that any person in Papua could be deemed to be a terrorist now. So we're asking, who is the terrorist? Is it this dude? This dude who's armed by Steyer and Heckler and Koch and Colt and Barrett, who's armed to the teeth and goes into West Papuan villages and assassinates people, trained by the Australian Federal Police? Or is it this guy, Pastor Zanambani, who was wondering what happened to his two nephews who disappeared? He was asking questions that the TNI didn't like. Next minute, Pastor Zanambani is found stabbed and shot to death outside his farm.
Shame. Shame.
So that everyone knows, this live stream's going out to make West Papua safe. So a lot of people in West Papua and Indonesia watch it as well. I've just given a little introduction to what we're doing here, and I'm going to hand over to Jasmine to tell us a bit more.
Welcome and thank you for coming today. We want to acknowledge the traditional owners.
Can't hear you, Jess. Shout.
We want to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land that we meet today, the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. We pay our respects to their elders past, present and future. Today we're at the AFP because the AFP are key trainers, funders and supporters of the Indonesian police, and in particular of Detachment 88, who are the counter-terrorism unit. As was mentioned, now that the Free West Papua movement has been classed as a terrorist organisation, Detachment 88 are going to be deployed in higher numbers to West Papua. Australia created, along with the US and Indonesian police, Detachment 88 in 2004. So we're a key player in their creation, and that makes us quite complicit in the atrocities that are happening in West Papua today, and that are getting a lot worse since that announcement and since the war in the highlands.
Just got a shout out from East Timor, solidarity from friends in East Timor. Solidarity.
Today we're going to hear from 2 other speakers, so I'm going to pass it over to
You can actually go up there and speak
yeah,
this
maybe.
way. It's good for the feed.
I think I'm not gonna grab on more about other stuff, but main reason why we're here is Indonesia Army has just declared OPM, the West Papua Liberation People, as the terrorists. In which you see that photo, who's the real terrorists? The people with the guns, the arms. They're doing targeted attacks on villages, houses made of wood and stuff, bombing them with weapons that are, supplied by Western corporations to serve Western interests. Why is, in the first place, why has the Indonesian army such a huge interest in West Papua? Mining. That's why they're there. And who's training the D-88 and the Indonesian army? They trained by the AFP. This couple here, this ASP here, they're the ones. They're the terrorists. They're training people to kill indigenous people, to kill black people. And they're using, my ancestors were from Makassar. I feel it's my duty to come here and say that we do not stand with these people. And those people who are doing the killings are not Indonesians. They are complicit with the colonial system that wants to kill all indigenous people. So that's why we're here. I brought friends from all across, from all BIPOC communities are here to stand together. And finally we're going to be as one and say that we don't support this. We're going to educate our friends in Indonesia. I'm not going to stand aside while people who look like me kill indigenous people for the colony and who's trained by the AFP. They're standing there, they don't know what they're doing, they're standing there like, oh, I don't know. But you should all know, people, your friends, the AFP, are training killers and use our terrorists. Shame! Shame! And that's all I want to say, because I think it's very important for us to stand together and educate our own communities, whether it's the Filipino community, whether it's the Indonesian community, whether it's every community that we need to know and stand together, because you're living here and you're paying tax and your money is going towards the AFP, the pigs, to train terrorists like that and that photo to kill indigenous people for what? For mining purposes, to extract all their minerals and everything from their land and not giving them liberty. And for a group of people to say we want our country to be free, and this is not a new tactic, because if you label them as terrorists, then you can come in with a full army and kill innocent people. That's why we're here. And to any Indonesian special forces or taking photos from afar, we're not intimidated. We're not intimidated by anyone. We're not intimidated by the AFP. We're not intimidated by the colony. We're not intimidated by brown people who helped the white colony. Because we're here as one for West Papuan family. When I came to this country, I lost community. There's no community in this country. But who brought me in is my family, like Edo, Poro, and everyone. The West Papuan people here are my family. And we're going to keep on standing together. We're going to keep on pressuring you, AFP. We're going to keep on pressuring you because you're training killers and you're the real terrorists.
Yeah!
When I say Papua, you say Merdeka. Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka! Haikal, bisa ulang lagi dalam bahasa karena banyak orang yang nonton dari
bisa.
Papua.
Bahasa
I just
aku nggak
asked him
bagus
to
sangat,
please
ya.
repeat it in Indonesian.
Ya, salam sejahtera. Selamat datang ini di AFP di La Trobe di so-called Melbourne. So kami solidarity kami orang dari Indonesia atau ancestors dari Indonesia. Kami support family kami di West Papua. Ini semua saudara kami. So di on this ground ada garisan. So di mana kamu mau diri? Kamu mau diri with the white supremacists, or do you want to stand with our family di West Papua? So pikirkan itu ya, saudara-saudara semua ya di sana. Kami semua bersatu sama. Bukan sama military yang bunuh orang yang enggak, innocent people. So stand together. Kalau kamu mau check out what's happening in West Papua, check out Make West Papua Safe, Instagram, everything, ya. Jadi solidarity sama teman-teman dan saudara kami. Yeah.
Terima kasih.
Terima kasih.
Yeah.
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Jangan bunuh kami lagi!
Jangan
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Filipinas!
Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Ka-
Merdeka! Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka! Merdeka!
Just to add, so the AFP are obviously doing all of this work without tax money. And what is
The AFP are doing all this work without tax money.
And what is really scary about that is that there are no guidelines in place around how and who they train in the Indonesian police. They leave it up to the Indonesian police to vet their own. The AFP have been hiding behind a guideline saying that this guideline protects human rights, and we've since got a copy of that guideline, and it only protects Australian citizens overseas and does not protect any non-Australian citizens. So there are no guidelines in place which prevent any kind of training around alleged perpetrators or perpetrators of human rights violations in West Papua. I'm now going to pass it on to adults.
Adult!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
When I say jangan bunuh kami lagi, everyone say stop. Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
Stop!
Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
Stop!
Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
Stop!
Thank you, thank you. Thanks everyone to attending rally today, and it's great to see supportive from all the Papua, all the nation, people who believe in justice, people who believe to get rid of the genocide. Thanks for their times, and for me making comments on Indonesian presidents recently make the West Papuan as a terrorist. In saying that, I want to say AFP itself has helping Indonesian training Indonesian military, and because of AFP has adopted a lot of system into Indonesia and make the Indonesian presidents and all the politicians to believe the indigenous West Papuan don't have a right in our own land. AFP should understand West Papua is not the terrorist. In saying that, I want you to understand what's happening in West Papua. People want to have freedom, live like any other country, live like any other nation. Australia helped Indonesia adopted all the system to make the indigenous losing our land and make us look like an animal, human slaughter in West Papua. West Papua has been under Indonesian colonization for 71 years.
Shame.
Until now, it's a shame on you.
Shame.
Shame on you.
Shame.
You shouldn't help Indonesian to adopt colonization system in Indonesia. West Papua needs the freedom. We want to live free in our own country because of to protect mining corporation investing in West Papua. You have helped them train a lot of military, killing our people, and that's not right. Here we are today, represent West Papuan and also students and people still dying in the village. Where is the humanity? Where is the justice? You're supposed to bring the justice. You don't help them killing our people. Shame on you.
Shame!
Shame on you.
Shame!
Shame on you.
Shame!
Joko Widodo as a president and Scott Morrison and all the mining corporation has a lot of interest in West Papua. Recently, the West Papuan being called as a terrorist. Where is that word coming from? You used that, adopted your system, bring into West Papua. Where's the right for the West Papuan? Our grandparents, auntie and uncle, even friends and students in the university still dying every day in every corner in West Papua. You have put a lot of ego, you have put a lot of system to make West Papua looks like a terrorist. Shame on you. We're not terrorists. We are the people standing up for the human right. Here today, we want to tell you, Joko Widodo, Indonesian president, you are a terrorist.
Yes.
Indonesian government are terrorists.
Yeah!
Shame on you. You are a terrorist.
Shame!
On behalf of the West Papuan, we would like to say, Indonesian government, you are a terrorist. Why you say the West Papuan is terrorist? Shame on you. You have followed a lot of colonizations, and now you bring it to West Papua. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Shame!
Joko Widodo, you are a terrorist. Your cabinet and your governments are terrorists. Defense minister in Indonesia, you are terrorists.
Yes.
You are terrorists. You bring a lot of troops in West Papua. 1,000 and 1,000 troops. And killing innocent people in the village. You make a people in the village become a terrorist. You are a terrorist. We are the only people going in the garden to bring our weapons to do the gardening, and you make us look like a terrorist. You shoot people down in the forest like animals. You shoot them. Even you put the weapons on people's throat. You kill them. Australian governments and the AFP should stop training Indonesian military. You make our people look like terrorists. You are terrorists.
Stop training!
Stop training Indonesian military. Stop training Indonesian military. Stop training Indonesian military. Stop training Indonesian military. Stop killing West Papua. Stop killing West Papua. Stop killing West Papua. Stop killing West Papua. Joko Widodo and Defense Minister and every Indonesian elite military, you are a terrorist in your own country. You are a terrorist in your own country. Stop killing West Papua. Stop killing West Papua. Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
Jangan bunuh kami lagi!
Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
Jangan bunuh kami lagi!
When I say West Papua, free West Papua, everyone say freedom. Free West Papua.
Freedom!
Free West Papua.
Freedom!
Free West Papua.
Freedom!
Free West Papua.
Freedom!
Thank you.
Sedikit dalam bahasa. Kalau bisa, sedikit dalam bahasa.
Hari ini bersama teman-teman di depan kantor Polis Federal Headquarter di Melbourne. Teman-teman di sini kita semua percaya bahwa hak-hak masyarakat Papua harus ada keadilan, bukan dituntut, bukan harus dibunuh setiap hari, dan kami tidak mau dibilang sebagai teroris. Kami bukan teroris. Kami adalah masyarakat yang penuntut keadilan di tanah Papua. Untuk Joko Widodo dengan semua military yang ada di Indonesia, jangan bunuh kami lagi. Kami bukan teroris. Kami adalah penuntut keadilan. Dan stop killing West Papuan yang sampai saat ini. Dan tolong hentikan semua pengiriman anggota atau militer yang ada di Papua. Tolong dihentikan. kami akan tetap berjuang untuk orang Papua dan kami akan tetap bawa keadilan sampai masuk ke Mahkamah Internasional. Terima kasih.
Yo!
Yes.
So just yesterday, just last night, we got the news that they've arrested Victor Yemo. So Victor Yemo's he's been an awesome advocate for human rights in West Papua. He's a non-violent activist. He's not connected with any kind of armed struggle. He was arrested back in 2019 after the riots in 2019, and he's just been arrested again in Jayapura. So we're asking the Australian Federal Police to use your influence with the Indonesian police force to secure the release of Victor Yemo. Free Victor Yemo, free all the political prisoners.
Free journalists.
Free all the journalists. We also received the sad news last night that another person has died as a result of Indonesian military violence. This was a farmer in a place called Tambrau. They've never had a military presence in Tambrau, but the Indonesian state is building a new military base in Tambrau and moving soldiers in. So the people of Tambrau have united to say, we don't want any military here. Take your base away, take your soldiers away. We don't want any violence, and we know that where the military are, violence follows. So this man, this farmer, 40-year-old father, went down to the local warung to just get some rice to take home, and 3 soldiers grabbed him, took him back to the base and beat him up.
Shame!
Shame!
So 1 month later, he has mysteriously died, and the family believe he has died as a result of injuries sustained in that beating. There's no other apparent cause of death. So that's another person now, another civilian murdered by Indonesian troops, beating him to death for no reason, except that he was there and he said, why are you here? We don't need the army. We don't need Indonesian military in our villages and our farms. So they took this man and they took him back to their base and they beat him, and he's now died as a result of that beating. So that makes about 30 civilians in the past 12 months who've died at the hands of the Indonesian military and police, and the AFP are training some of the worst killers.
Listen up, clowns!
The AFP are training D88. I'll just get a focus on that image of D88 again. They are training guys like this, armed to the teeth, to go into West Papua villages and target and assassinate civilians like this man who was killed last year by the TNI. We've got some messages coming in from West Papua. May I share this? Yes!
Yes!
Yes, share it. Thank you, family, with your purest heart. Papua Merdeka. So if you're watching online, please share, please comment. Papua Merdeka, free West Papua, Papua Merdeka. And somebody's saying, what about all the massacres that you people do? I've never done a massacre myself. Has anyone here ever done a massacre?
I think those guys behind the flag have, complicit the AFP.
Well, they're training people who participate in massacres. So that's what we're here for today, is to say stop training Indonesian police and military. Stop training D88. They're an assassination squad.
And the worst scenario, Indonesian military, army, police working to every school state in the villages and replace the teacher and become the army uniform and the police uniform standing at the front of the class and teaching the kids. That's a shame. It's never happened in any international class, in any international school. That's never happened. Australia AFP has helped Indonesia to adopt their colonizations. And that's the same on you, allowing military uniforms replace the teachers, even convince all their kids in the class to wearing Indonesian flags. That's not right. You cannot do that. That's a shame. You're supposed, when AFP are training Indonesian, you're supposed to train them in justice, not to train them to killing people. Shame on you.
Shame.
You have protect a lot of mining corporation in West Papua. How many mining corporation has touched in West Papua? And you ignore people die in West Papua. How come these things happen? It's never happened in any war. Never happened in any other country. Only happened in West Papua. Indonesian military walking into the class, put the weapon, put the guns, full squad, occupy the whole school. Not even the parent can allow in the school area, only the children. How come these things happen? You're there. You put your trainer, you put your commander in there. You should know. Why can you walk like this with the police uniform, walking into the school and teaching the kids? Can you do that in Australia? I don't think so. But you're allowing in West Papua. That's a shame. That's colonization.
You're training
Even the
killers.
parents, you kill them in the village. How come you do that? You support Indonesia, bring the genocide in there in West Papua. That's not right.
Some of the mining interests in West Papua at the moment, Freeport are still in there, and there's a new mine being planned for the highlands, the Puncak area. The mine is owned mostly by the Indonesian government. They're looking to build a new gold mine, the same size as Freeport. So for Freeport, they basically blew the top off a sacred mountain. So the sacred sites of West Papua are being blown up by miners. So for Freeport, they've already destroyed one sacred mountain. Now the Indonesian-owned MIND company, MIND, are looking to build a whole new gold mine as big as Freeport and destroy more sacred land. Now the local people are resisting this. Come on in. You want to? Everyone, come on in. Can we look like a crowd? Come on in undercover, so the people on the feed can see just how many we are. Come right in around here, and some people over here. Sorry, I'm producing the film as I'm talking. So MIND are building this brand new gold mine, and the local people are resisting it, and that is why we are seeing an intensification of attacks in the highlands in West Papua. That is why we're seeing Boeing helicopters in the highlands right now strafing villages. It's to make way for the new mine. It's to wipe out resistance to the new gold mine. The other big expansion of investment in West Papua at the moment is around palm oil. So the Indonesian state's already wiped out the forests of Sumatra and Borneo. They're nearly gone. All those beautiful rainforests are nearly gone for coal and palm oil. And now they're looking to do the same to West Papua. So Papua now has the third biggest tract of unspoilt rainforest in the world. There's the Amazon, there's the Congo, and there's West Papua. So again, the local people are resisting this. It's their forest. They live with that forest. Their culture and their livelihoods rely on that forest. They are resisting this privatization of their forest. So what does Indonesia do? Indonesia sends in the troops. And those troops are trained by Australia. They're trained by the SAS over in Perth, and the police are trained by the AFP.
These people, yeah.
These people right here. So that's why we're here today, because the AFP are training D88 and BREMOB. They are training killers in West Papua. The AFP are training D88 and BREMOB, who go into those contested areas and back up the investors and suppress and murder the Indigenous people who are standing up and saying, we don't want our forests turned into palm oil factories. We want our forests intact. We want our cultures intact. We want our lives intact. So we're here to stand with those people and say, AFP, you cannot keep training people who are committing murders. Jangan bunuh kami lagi.
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 Okay, we've got thanks so much, my family present in West Papua.
Same on Indonesian government to not the internet connection in West Papua. What the hell? That's not right. That's even in new era. We're living in different century. How could you do that? That's terrorist. That's your terrorist. That you do that. You do that to killing people. People couldn't expose any photos or anything out to the wall. You shut down everything in West Papua. You shut down the island. You sent more and more troops. Even you sent 500 Satan military member go down to West Papua to killing people, innocent West Papuan in the village. That's not right. That's not right.
Shame!
Shame on you. Shame on you. Shame on you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak a little bit to the live stream, to our friends in West Papua, or speak directly to the AFP, who are no doubt recording all of this? Hi guys. Everyone good?
Yep.
Jazz? Poro?
Hello,
Yes, go.
thank you.
Poro,
West
maybe you
Papua
can-
Human Rights Defender here. We've already investigated with WHPs and Make West Papua Safe, and we come up with two names, which are Boy Rafli Ama and Untung Sangaji, a high-rank police that has been deployed by Jakarta to Merauke, and also Jayapura, which commit so much police brutality and also Paniai massacre and the killings in Merauke as well, has a close relationship with the Australian elites and war properties. It's trained. They are trained under JKUGIYAIPAI, Jakarta Center for Law Enforcement Cooperation, which is come from Australian taxpayers' money, which is trained by the AFP, and to commit genocide, to export terror, to kill West Papuan peoples, and we need to stop this. And we find to do this, we need to fight against such an impenetrable wall like here. And it's so possible if we have more political support from the Australian community, which is for each one of you need to ask your local MP whether the training and support from Australia Defence Forces are accountable for human rights values and principles. And it's not. It's not. The bullets come to kill West Papua. The training come to train highly trained Kopassus, a special force in Indonesia, which now being deployed to West Papua after Indonesia Minister of Defense declared that West Papuan Liberation Movement are terrorists. So that means I'm a terrorist. That means you are terrorists. We come in the name of liberations and to fight for land rights of West Papuan people and any other countries that fight for their land rights. We've been titled as a terrorist, and I feel like this is imperialist capitalist tactic and strategy. It happens everywhere, and we're against a big power. So it would be good to see all of us that have been fighting for this to join a bigger forces. So in here we have our Asians Alliance and Chilean Alliance here. So we want to have bigger forces for peace campaign, peace coalitions, and another support of other support than the political support from Australian community is we're gonna do disrupt land forces, which attacking all the weapons and firearms manufacturer that has been supplied this to killing, to get profits, to get money out of the killings of my own people, and I believe any other indigenous community experience the same, and refugee community as well. So we're gonna be doing this, always targeting the AFP, and we need your political support as well. And we're gonna form a bigger alliance for peace activism, and we're gonna be there in Brisbane. So call out for every one of you are victims of genocide, to come together, and we create a bigger bloc to fight against all of these firearms and weapons manufacturer, wherever they are. So now we start with Australia, we start with Thales, we start with Boeing, we start with Lockheed Martin, and we form a bigger group, bigger power, because people united will never be defeated.
Yeah.
Amen.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's the absolute power from the people themselves.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So for land for...
I feel the same. I feel the same because, every day I'm busting my ass, working every day, pay tax, and what happened? The tax they're using to training AFP, to training Indonesian military, and kill my people in West Papua. Right? And you know what? Every day, the last 5 days in West Papua, Indonesian military using aircraft, bombing every village, and it looks like people running away from the village. They have to find a place to sleep because they IP training the Indonesian military using my money. Because I'm working every day, busting my ass, pay the tax to IP to kill my people. I'm sad because the IP training Indonesian, training the killer. And now the Indonesian government claimed the West Papua movement as a terrorist. Who is terrorist? The terrorist using carrying a gun every day. That's not the terrorist. It is terrorists who still look like that. You see that people look like that, carry the gun. That the gun is coming from Australian government. Product the gun, product the military using the Indonesian military to kill West Papua. I feel the same. I feel the same because I pay tax. My hand full of blood of people in West Papua. Papua! Merdeka! Papua! Merdeka! Papua! Merdeka!
So we actually made this into a song. You can download it from the Disrupt Forces Land Forces website, and you can go to Disrupt Land Forces on Facebook or Instagram or on our website and get that song. And the song goes, Jangan bunuh kami lagi, get your armies off our bodies. Jangan bunuh kami lagi,
Get your armies off our borders.
jangan bunuh kami lagi,
Get your armies off our borders.
jangan bunuh kami lagi. Come on, you mean it or not? Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Get your armies off our bodies. Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Get your armies off our bodies. Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Get your armies off our bodies. Jangan bunuh kami lagi. Get your armies off our bodies. Is there anyone from the AFP who would like to speak about the issue of training killers in West Papua? I just want to hear both sides if you guys want to speak about training D88 or training Polri or training Bremob, or maybe you didn't know, maybe it's news to you that the AFP are training hit squads in West Papua. Anyone down there want to speak to the live feed about training hit squads in West Papua? Okay, no one? Alright, well we gave them...
Shame on them, they're killing people, they deny, that's what happened.
Well, we gave them a chance. We gave them a chance. Would anyone like to speak about the impact of weapons in Colombia or Myanmar? So Australian-made weapons are also being sold and used in Myanmar and the Philippines.
Yeah, I think we just had this conversation a while in a meeting around Disrupt Land Forces where I didn't even know, because I was doing interviews with friends who are in Myanmar right now who are going through a tragic military coup where people are being killed inside, food are being stolen from them, phones, houses being raided. I just heard from last weekend after chats with friends that the same people who are producing the weapons, what's that company again, sorry? Thales. Same weapons used in Myanmar is the same ones used in West Papua, and I'm probably sure that what's the Zionist company, Albert? The same weapons are used on Palestinians right now who are fighting for their rights as well. Every minority groups in the world is suffering right now because of these huge companies.
And they're making money.
Yes.
They're making money from these killings.
People are simultaneously dying around the world, Myanmar, Palestine, West Papua, everywhere, based on this select few company that are working with the colony to make more money for their own interests. So that's why I think it's very important for different communities to come together and bridge the gap and see how we can support each other.
When I say Papua, everyone say Merdeka. Merdeka means freedom. Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
For our people in West Papua! Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
For our people in West Papua! Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Jangan bunuh kami lagi!
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 Thank you. Thank you.
We might just hold a minute's silence for the people represented here. So these are just some of the people who've been murdered by the Indonesian military and police in the last 12 months. We've got Kuliki Mirip over here, who was deaf and intellectually disabled, so he didn't realise he needed to flee the village. He remained in the village and the soldiers came in and killed him. We've got Demisian Kolbak here, who pretty much had nothing to do with anything. She was a student, she was lying in bed. T and I came into her dormitory looking for someone else, and when she wouldn't get up, they beat her to death. Antanias Wuka was walking home in the forest with another young man. Black-clad men, would either be Kapasas or D88, shot him and his friend. They both collapsed, and then D88 or the Kapasas, we think it was probably Kapasas, placed weapons on their bodies and photographed them. So this is the same thing that the SAS did in Afghanistan, the throwdown tactic, where you kill a civilian and then when you realise you've made a mistake, you place a weapon on the body and photograph them. And we know this because one of the boys didn't die. He woke up as the weapon was being placed on his body and he managed to run, wounded, with a bullet wound in the chest. He managed to run and get away and live to tell the tale. But his friend, Atanias Wuka, unfortunately died. Justinas Bagao, I've already mentioned, was sitting at the hospital bed of his brother when he was beaten to death. Rufinus Tigao was a catechist with his local church. He was just walking home when he was shot dead. Melky Tigapau, age 11, shot dead with his father as they were walking home. Christianos Yadum died of his injuries after being beaten by the police in Merauke. This is one of the police we're investigating who were definitely trained by an Australian-funded institute, trained by AFP. Melanius Nagao, only 17, also shot in February of this year and killed. These are just the people we have photographs of. There are plenty more we don't have photographs of. And I'd also like to hold space for the 100 Colombians, more than 100 Colombians who've been killed by riot police in the last week. And also more than 100 people in Myanmar who've been killed by military in the past week. So we know that the fight is the same. It's the struggle over Indigenous rights and land. It's the struggle over access to resources. So we are here today to stand with the Indigenous people, First Nations people everywhere and working people everywhere who simply want a decent life. They want their villages intact, they want their forests and their rivers intact, and they want their lives intact. So I'll just invite everyone to spend 1 minute in respect for the dead, and then we might wrap up. Thanks, everyone. So we might pack up here, say thanks to the Australian Federal Police for holding space for us and listening to us so nicely, even though they didn't want to speak with us, and say thanks to them because they are going to consider not training killers anymore. We know they're going to take that message away. They're going to talk about it in their staff rooms, on their staff forums, because a lot of these people might not even know that they're training killers. Now they do. That's thanks to us. So from here, we might go to the cafe across the road. Is there one? Yes. So there's a cafe up on the corner. We'd love you to come, even just briefly, to hear about the next action we're going to do. I'm going to stop the live stream now, so we're not live streaming that. Thanks to everybody watching. Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Papua!
Merdeka!
Jangan bunuh kami lagi! Jangan bunuh kami lagi! Jangan bunuh kami lagi!
Jangan bunuh kami lagi!